what was your most important learning from fighting either this book ban or some previous ones? Is there something that you're particularly proud of, or something else that you wish you had done? Any of that?
Yeah. I will say the top point that I learned this legislative session is that the legislative arm of our government is not easy to navigate in any fashion. From the winding dead-end hallways of the Capitol to the inability to even find working email addresses to contact our representatives and our governor. I wanted to send a statement to our governor, and I could not find a working email address online. So I reached out to an organization called Mothers Against Greg Abbott, and it's just a local collection of badass mamas fighting to make a change for families, schools, and neighbors. And they don't have his email address. I reached out to a chief of staff of a senator that I was working with. He didn't have the governor's email address. I had to print it out and snail mail my statement to the governor in order to tell him why this bill is not feasible. I learned that when an expert in the field of the bill that is targeted, like a book vendor, testifies about the infeasibility of a bill, they don't listen. I learned that when thousands of people contact their elected officials about how a bill is bad for the community, along with 16 people testifying in person against it, versus 11 people that were for it, and 163 people registering against it, while only 9 people registered for it, that the legislators are going to do whatever that their party is telling them to do. I learned that as hard as you fight and all of the expertise that you share in the field, they can and will choose to not listen. And so what I'm particularly proud of is literally just standing up and testifying against this bill. There were 3 book vendors that testified in person. 2 were from BookPeople, and 1 was from a large bookstore chain. She was not able to say who she worked for. They weren't even willing to pay her to be there, so she took a vacation day to testify. We were the targets of the bill, and there was literally no voice given to the target other than our 3 voices. I don't know what else I could have done at this point. I have literally been fighting this bill since the end of March in some form or fashion. I went to the Texas Librarians Association at the end of March or beginning of April. I got my business cards into the hands of as many publishers as possible. I spearheaded a last-minute panel at a regional conference where a lot of Texas booksellers were in the same room. And fighting this bill actually took precedence over strategic planning for our organization, because booksellers are just people, and we can only do so much.
Well, but I mean, I think it's incredible how much you've done, right? I think you've been a stand for the for the proliferation and the development of books in the state of Texas. I mean, that actually is what we do every day, is to work on behalf of readers and on behalf of students. And it's an absolutely extraordinary accomplishment.